Good evening, Professor Thomas. This is Scott O'Neill, and I'm presenting a Rogerian argument on the legalization of marijuana. It is a Rogerian approach, and we'll go ahead and get started. It is March 22nd now, 2021. Move on to the second slide here. So the introduction is the legalization of marijuana has been a topic of discussion for numerous years. A plant has brought the mighty to its knees and the weak to the forefront. Throughout the history of this powerful herb, the plant has left an unequivocal impasse in the legal direction of cannabis sativa, and the argument proposed will be that of a compromise amongst marijuana's critics and its proponents. The question is what the direction should be taken regarding marijuana in the United States. On one side of the marijuana field, some believe that it should be allowed for medicinal purposes, while on the other side of the marijuana field, the opposition believes that marijuana is the gateway drug to all other drugs. These are only a few of the problems that will be explored, but without collaboration by both sides, the issue will remain a crossroads for the future. So as a history of the subject, the history of cannabis is a storied past from medicinal usage in 2700 BC to the current climate of marijuana dispensaries opening up in certain areas of the United States. It is said that the earliest use of cannabis as a medicine is attributed to the legendary Chinese emperor Xin Yung, who is thought to have lived around 2700 BC, Payne 2015. A little history on Xin Yung. He was a medicinal doctor, somewhat like a witch doctor, that used to create herbal remedies for the people of the village that he lived in. Medical marijuana dispensaries erupted in 2015 across the United States, relying on state law to defend this action. However, marijuana is still illegal federally through the United States Code, Title 21, 841A1, which is distribution, manufacture, possession with intent to distribute. This statute carries extremely hefty sentences for those that violate it. And marijuana is still prosecuted regularly in the federal system, at least in the federal courts in South Texas. While the MORE Act has been recently passed by the House in late 2020 and still must pass the Senate, marijuana continues to remain an illegal substance in Penalty Group 1, Schedule 1 of the federal drug laws. But the issues surrounding the drug and its legalization are slowly but surely being relaxed. So for this argument, those that reside within the confines of the opposition, the following points are noted for the purpose of this discussion. Marijuana and its derivatives can be utilized in the medicinal field for treatment of numerous diseases. Cataracts, back problems, joint problems. I've personally known people that have obtained significant relief for this from medicinal marijuana, and they have actually moved to Colorado and Oregon for the purposes of that. It also allows law enforcement the ability to issue citations rather than to arrest, which allows for more productive police service, also less crowding in the jails, and you're still obtaining the financial benefits from the issuance of citations. It's more productive rather than counterproductive. It also creates a taxable income for the United States government from the legal sale of marijuana and job creation within the industry. With the new developments involved in domestic marijuana production, a second look is warranted by both sides of the argument for betterment of all, not for it. My position against marijuana is it is addictive and is evident by numerous large seizures of the drug at the South southern border of South Texas and other points within the United States. The currency obtained from the sale of marijuana in the United States is phenomenal and is a major cause for cartel violence and terrorism-related incidents. Marijuana remains classified in federal drug statutes as being a Schedule I drug, which is designated as due to having no medical issues or no medical use and has a high potential for abuse, DEA 2020. This is why it remains identified as a gateway drug, opening the way for abusive measures and behaviors seen in daily narcotics abuse. As you can see, my photos there on the right, that is me back in the day with a little over 1,000 pounds of marijuana, which is basically a sneeze in the bucket. I think my largest load was 12,200 something pounds. So this all originated in Mexico, from the Mexico fields down there. There's a video above it showing how the Mexican fields up there are grown, and there's hydration and hydroponics and stuff that are involved in that. The eradication is constant. So in order for everything to work, obviously there's going to have to be some type of prevention at the southern border from the influx of the Mexican marijuana coming in to allow for a taxable base of marijuana produced in the United States if it were ever to be legalized by federal law. As it says on the bottom, the information provided is from research and years of personal experience in the field. While there are also sides to every argument, the ability to listen to both sides without passing judgment is key. Excuse me. So the statement of understanding here, in respect to the opposing viewpoints, marijuana has been stated to assist in the treatment of medical problems in the United States and abroad. While the DEA does not recognize this, the evidence is mounting. As I stated earlier, that I have several friends that have found relief by utilizing medical marijuana and have essentially moved to the areas that medical marijuana is sold. It is currently still illegal in Texas, where I live, so they flee the area and attempts to better themselves. Numerous studies have been conducted that have allowed for using marijuana for medical purposes and has resulted in greater physical and or psychological well-being. Lankenau et al., 2018. Law enforcement officers are overworked and underpaid, and the ability to issue citations rather than to arrest for the offense would be a step in the right direction. Taxation of marijuana, if legalized, would be needed to bolster economies and provide much-needed assistance to utilize in other drug addictions or life education, whether that be from grants funded by the sale or organizations created by the government. Job creation is needed by all as to repair a struggling economy. In conclusion, collaboration between both sides of the argument stands to reason a more thorough outlook on the legalization of marijuana. While marijuana is said to be utilized for medical reasons, a strict evaluation prior to use can be implemented, as well as restriction to use to automobiles and machinery usage while under the influence. The authorization of citations rather than arrests would benefit both the possessor and the officer involved. Less paperwork means more time spent protecting the public. The taxation and strict regulation of the THC content, obviously, of marijuana could benefit the economy, which eases stress and anxiety on everyone, and the creation of new jobs in the industry lessens unemployment rates. Here's on my works cited page. Obviously, we did not go through the videos in here because some of them are fairly long, and I'm not sure this will last. The recording will last on Screenomatic. But overall, the approach is, so there's two sides to every argument always. Obviously, the Rogerian approach, we tend to try to compromise, and while personally, I believe that it is illegal and that should have substantiated measures associated with anything that is passed or anything that they believe to be passed in the near future should have strict measures to it. And without those strict measures, it's like the Wild West, and it's a free-for-all for everybody, much like Mexico is to the United States right now. Thousands and thousands of pounds of not only marijuana, obviously, but methamphetamines, heroin, cocaine are crossing our borders daily. And it's an influx in the United States. And the money that's created by the sale of all the narcotics being distributed throughout this country is, mind-blowing. If the numbers, and I'm not at liberty to discuss those, but if the numbers were made available to the public, it's just mind-blowing. It's shockingly mind-blowing. And so the little amount of money that would be made off medicinal marijuana sold in the United States, if it were legalized, is not even in comparison to the money that the cartels are funneling back into Mexico from the sale of narcotics to United States citizens today. I wish I had more time to talk about this because I really enjoy it. But I hope that I proved my Rogerian approach. I believe that I did. I may not have done everything specifically correct because I'm really unfamiliar with this kind of work, and especially PowerPoints is not one of my strong suits. So thank you very much, and I enjoy this class thoroughly. Thank you.